मैं बात करता हूँ आपसे, मैं अभी लेक्चर में। गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन, गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन. So we were doing the eutrophication. Eutrophication मेंस के लिए जो है, do it in the question answer format for the mains to the printed notes. Prelims के लिए what do you mean by eutrophication? Eutrophication is the process of enrichment of the lakes. How do they get eutrophied? Due to fertilizers, that is the surface water runoff, fertilizers, generally nitrates and phosphates, phosphorus fertilizers. Due to the nutrient enrichment of the lakes, is the nutrient enrichment of the lakes good or bad? Initially short term it is good because it will cause growth of algae, but long term it becomes bad because that results into the lake becoming less in oxygen. Therefore what increases? BOD COD increases, causing death of a lake. So उसमें एक process है what is known as an algal bloom. Fine. So how do you define algal bloom? What is algal bloom? मतलब, can I say algal bloom is the process by which there is sudden growth of algae which cannot be managed by the lake ecosystem, and because of this algal bloom the sunlight is blocked. Because of the algal bloom the photosynthesis over the period of time will reduce and therefore the lakes will die. So take the definition of algal bloom. See, after the class if you want to wait कि जो टेस्ट 10 था, मतलब जो अभी फुल लेंथ टेस्ट हुआ, एंड इफ यू वांट टू रिवाइज इट क्विकली आफ्टर द क्लास यू कैन वेट फॉर द डिस्कशन आल्सो. वैसे फ़ायदा हो जाएगा डिस्कशन के लिए रुकोगे तो. दैट इज, हैव यू गिवन टेस्ट 10? नहीं, सारे जितने भी फुल लेंथ टेस्ट है विदाउट फेल गिव इट. मैं गारंटी ले रहा हूँ 50% ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस, 50% of the questions will come. I take this guarantee. So full length test जो अभी मंडे से हो रहा है, 50% of the issues will be covered. मतलब if you can do this tests very properly, सारे issues उसके very properly, तुम्हें है टेस्ट सीरीज. लास्ट के 10 टेस्ट. So take down algal bloom. The sudden growth of algae, the sudden growth of algae, sudden growth of algae, especially in the shallow water bodies, especially in the shallow water bodies, which causes blocking of sunlight, which causes blocking of sunlight, is known as algal bloom. Is known as algal bloom. Algal blooms are not always harmful. Algal blooms are not always harmful. But algal blooms will cause change in the color of the lakes. Will cause change in the color of the lakes. Will cause change in the color of the lakes. Because of pigmentation. Because of pigmentation. And such algal blooms increases the BOD/COD or biochemical oxygen demand, increases the biochemical oxygen demand because they produce toxins causing anoxic conditions. Anoxic conditions मतलब less in oxygen. And death of the lakes. But sometimes algal and phytoplankton blooms are helpful because they form the base of a food chain. Providing food for the marine organisms. Do it only from prelims point of view, that is just the names. So can I say causes of the eutrophication is first nitrates and phosphorus fertilizers, right? Which are excessively used in the agriculture. Second, excessive dumping of biological waste in water bodies. True or false? True. Q, because biological waste is rich in nitrogen. Excessive dumping of biological waste in the water bodies. Third, direct sewage disposal. And disposal of industrial waste into water bodies. Tell me industrial waste आएगा कि नहीं इसमें? क्यों? Because phosphorus and nitrates industrial waste में भी हो सकता है. Industrial waste in the water bodies. Next, aquaculture. Tell me yes or no सबसे पहले. Aquaculture कैसे? Those are saying yes, कैसे? Those who are saying no, क्यों नहीं? Animal aquaculture will cause growth of the fishes. Fishes will give excreta, and this excreta will be rich in nitrates, and thus there will be growth of algal blooms. अब aquaculture में do we use fertilizers? Yes. क्यों? Not for the fishes, but for the growth of phytoplanktons, and therefore aquaculture will result into algal bloom. थोड़ा indirectly use करना, because questions ये जो इतने easy topics है इसमें से they ask you indirect questions here. Understanding why aquaculture? So in the examination भी ऐसे सोचो कि if there are larger fishes, there will be more amount of excreta, there will be more amount of fertilizers, there will be more amount of fish feed into the fishes. And this all are nutrients, and therefore there will be growth in the phytoplanktons causing eutrophication of the lakes. Getting it? So aquaculture, especially aquaculture, it is a technique, of growing shellfish and even aquatic plants. कौन सा? aquaculture नहीं, aquaculture, AQUI, and even aquatic plants in water without soil. Aquaculture, you already know what it is. In water without soil. As the soil is not used, therefore there is application of nutrients or food. And hence aquaculture is the most important contributor. Hence, aquaculture is the most important contributor in recent times. Resulting into dense growth of microscopic plants. Understanding definition of aquaculture versus aquaculture. Aquaculture is growing anything, but यहाँ पे growing of fish, aqua, but plants also, but without soil. So without soil, orchids, for example, are grown without soil. So उसमें how do you grow without soil? You put much number of nutrients in the water, and as a result of this, there is a sudden growth of the aquaculture. पानी में है, vertical gardening land पे है. Vertical gardening will come as a method of fighting pollution. Next, you tell me yes or no. Natural events such as floods, are they responsible for कैसे? Excessive weathering, erosion, and therefore nutrients. So natural events such as floods. Which take excessive nutrients. Due to enhanced weathering and erosion. Next, solutions. ये सब properly करके जाना. Solutions. So what is the first solution? Reducing the use of nitrogen in the fertilizer industry. So reducing the use of nitrogen. Second, tell me yes or no. Okay, first tell me composting, yes or no. What do you mean by composting? Microorganisms in the soil, growing of more microorganisms in the soil to increase the fertility of the soil. How composting is responsible for lesser eutrophication? Less use of fertilizers. एक ही पॉइंट है. The main reason is when you use microorganisms, the microorganisms will break down nutrients such as nitrates and phosphates into much simpler and different forms of nutrients. वो chemical reaction करेंगे and nitrates and phosphates गायब हो जाएंगे soil से. Though soil की fertility increase होगी, but nitrates and phosphates will be reduced in the soil, and thus the nitrates and phosphates get reduced. So whatever the runoff that goes into the water is less in nitrates and phosphates. So this you note down. The composting is a practice of converting the organic matter into manure, converting the organic matter into the manure. The nutrients that are present in the compost, are deficient in nitrates and phosphates because the essential elements are broken down. And thus stop the cycle of eutrophication. क्योंकि nitrates and phosphates नहीं बचेंगे as they are broken down. Next, precision agriculture. Yes or no? So what is precision agriculture? More crop per drop, less use of water, micro irrigation. Any other idea what is precision agriculture? क्या यूज करते हैं? So precision agriculture is not more crop per drop, not anything. Precision agriculture is also known as satellite farming. That is, I must have told you sometimes back, much earlier, that what is this precision agriculture? You precisely apply to the need of the crops and the need of the farm as per the soil. So soil mein there are certain kind of fertilizers, soil mein there are certain kind of manures. Precision agriculture वहाँ पे लिखना even prepare for mains, मतलब refer printouts. Fine. It is even a topic for mains. So soil mein there are certain kind of the manure, soil mein there is certain kind of the moisture holding capacity. Soil mein the moisture, manure, fertilizers, etc. will depend upon the variety of the crops you are growing. Now suppose you are having a farm which is having two kind of crops. एक का requirement is ज़्यादा amount of water, next का requirement is less amount of water. एक का requirement is more moisture, but there is a possibility कि कल धूप थी, but आज there is a chance of western disturbances coming, and therefore there is a chance of rainfall. So imagine as a farmer, someone is telling you कि don't put the moisture because कल शाम को, कल दिन भर evaporation कम होगा from the soil as it will be covered by clouds. And secondly, there will be chance of rainfall in the evening due to western disturbances. So आप क्या करोगे? You will not apply water. Somebody is testing the soil on daily basis and giving you instant report card and telling कि see this is the amount of manure that is required. So NPK, ये तीन fertilizers में से wheat ने सिर्फ nitrates ले लिए, phosphates adequate है, put phosphorus only. वो भी कितना? 2 milligram. So that kind of precision when someone tells you is known as precision agriculture. Who will tell you? Computers are going to tell you. How the computers are going to tell you? Because agriculture machinery is linked to satellites. and the satellites will monitor the weather forecast on the daily basis. The robots or the computers or artificial intelligence or machines will give you the soil results, and after giving the soil results you will apply that based on the machines only. मैन्युअल लेबर की जरूरत ही नहीं है. 7-8 लेबर से पूरे फार्म को आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हो. द ओनली थिंग इज द फार्म हैज टू बी इंटीग्रेटेड टू द कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम. Such kind of an system is what is known as an precision agriculture, which is going to be the future of agriculture industry. Farmers will be more high tech. Farmers will be having artificial intelligence. Farmers will be carrying iPads in the farm, not laborers in the farm. Why? Because precision agriculture demands this. Baki everything is done by the machines. It is already taken up in USA on the large scale. It is already taken up in Western Maharashtra in some districts, and it has taken up in Tamil Nadu in some districts. So these are the 2 states in India jahan pe precision agriculture has made inroads. Generally, मैं बताता हूँ, I don't know whether I have told you in the class, I have visited one field of precision agriculture, that is the grape farming. And उसमें the precision agriculture was used, a big, very big farm, जिसमें at the center of the farm the owner is sitting and he is controlling everything through iPad. And he has only 7 laborers in the field of somewhere around 7 acres, 6 to 7 acres. 7 laborers थे उसके, और हर लेबर के पास एक फील्ड में एक एकड़ में एक लेबर who was controlling everything with the help of iPad. So उसको क्या देना पड़ा लेबर को? iPad, not the machines, not the equipments. This is what is known as an precision agriculture. Obviously, he is one of the leading grape exporters to Saudi and Dubai from India. The precision agriculture, especially in the terms of organic farming, because he knows how much of chemicals, how much of pesticides, how much of water should be applied, and thus over the period of time, he does not. He passes the phytosanitary measures of WTO. He passes all the regulations. He can export everything. And एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ कि who was the farmer? The farmer was, जब मैं starting में दिल्ली में आया, जो हमारा senior था 2 साल पहले, जो UPSC के लिए prepare कर रहा था, from obviously IIT Mumbai, तो he was the farmer. Job छोड़ दिया MNC का, and now he earns somewhere around 2 to 3 crore rupees a year just by exporting from grapes. बाकी का things are different in his business. So this is what is precision. कौन कर पाया ये? Someone who was already rich. कौन कर पाया ये? Someone who was already educated. Fine. An IITian could do it because he had substantial amount of money through his MNC jobs. He had an exposure. So this is the precision agriculture. Now who is doing it in India? In India it is being proposed by Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. It is taking the precision agriculture on the large scale. So take down the definition of precision agriculture. The precision agriculture is the use of satellites and information communication technology. Satellites and information communication technology in crop and farm management. In crop and farm management. Precision agriculture is looked as a game changer in India. Precision agriculture is looked as a game changer in India because it has shown, you can write even the date of the news, 25th October 2018, because it has shown to reduce input cost, as well as increase the yields of both food and fruit crops. Third, it uses blockchain technology. In farm management. You already know what is blockchain technology. in the farm management, and therefore is also known as digital farming. Also known as digital farming. Tractors and other agricultural machineries, tractors and other agricultural machineries are fitted with sensors, which can advise the farmers on the inputs, In India, success stories have shown that precision agriculture farm can be linked with e-NAM, What is e-NAM? Market hai, which will help the farmer to be directly connected with AMC, the farmer to compare the cost between different AMCs, farmer also to sell his directly to the market, can be connected with e-NAM. ये सिर्फ याद रखना, मैं सिर्फ प्रीलिम्स के लिए दे रहा हूं, ये मेंस के लिए नहीं, ये मेंस में और थोड़ा एनालिसिस ज्यादा है. That is can be connected with e-NAM to increase their income. Benefits: one, precise application of irrigation to different parts of the farm, using drip irrigation technology. Second, application of fertilizers, again obviously in the precise amount, application of fertilizers using drip irrigation. So इससे आपको एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हो गया कि can drip irrigation can be used to apply fertilizers? Yes, using drip irrigation. Application of fertilizers using drip irrigation. Third, reduced environmental degradation, and reduction in bioaccumulation as well as eutrophication. क्यों? Less fertilizers, pesticides. Next application, next benefit, can help overcome the variation in the Indian monsoon. Can help overcome variation in Indian monsoon. Next, negative. Very high cost of input. Initial cost is very high. 2 lakh रुपए per acre is the initial cost, and therefore Small and marginal farm holders cannot benefit. Small and marginal farm holders cannot benefit. Small and marginal farm holders cannot benefit. Next, conservation agriculture. What is conservation agriculture? What is conservation agriculture? I'm just giving you this diagram. You can draw this. पिछले साल ही क्वेश्चन था, I guess. So conservation agriculture, तीन चीजें याद रखना. Management of soil cover, minimum disturbance of soil, and crop diversification. These are the three things of conservation agriculture. Can I continue? You tell me what will be there in the conservation agriculture अब. Vermi composting किसमें आएगा? Green manure, fine. Mulching, soil cover. Zero tillage or minimum tillage? दोनों, minimum tillage या zero tillage. Minimum disturbance of soil. Avoiding deep tillage. Avoiding use of heavy machinery on the soil. Fine. Avoiding monoculture. Crop diversification. This was the options last year. Which of the following is there in the conservation agriculture? Fine. Monoculture या avoiding monoculture. Getting it? ये तीन डायग्राम, ये तीन जो फाव कहता है, these are the three components of conservation agriculture. If you remember this, इससे applied questions आएंगे. Fine. So conservation agriculture is a set of soil management practices. Is a set of soil management practices. Is a set of soil management practices that is based on one, minimum disruption to the soil structure. Minimum disruption to the soil structure. Disruption to the soil structure. Second, use of natural biodiversity in farming. Use of natural biodiversity in farming. Third, no burning of crop residues. No burning of crop residue. No burning of crop residue, because burning kills the microorganisms as well as causes environmental pollution, Next, utilization of green manure. And permanent permanent soil cover when land is not used for agriculture. Land is not used for agriculture. Next, integrated pest and disease management. Next, limited mechanical traffic over soil. Next, organic farming. And last, regular crop rotation. Fine. So it will avoid monoculture. Next point, conservation agriculture. Is against the principles of first green revolution. Which was based on high yielding variety of seeds, assured irrigation, and use of synthetic chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Use of synthetic chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Stop here and tell me, conservation agriculture तीनों के खिलाफ है या किसी एक के ही खिलाफ है? Why high yielding variety of seeds? High yielding variety of seeds is not bad. If you are having high yielding variety of seeds which are desi seeds versus hybrid seeds. Hybrid seeds require large amount of water. Desi seeds do not require large amount of water. Remember. So it is not against the high yielding variety of seeds. Second, is it against assured irrigation? No, it cannot be. Assured irrigation कि पानी हमेशा मिलेगा. अब when you give it by drip irrigation, it is conservation agriculture. When you give it by canal irrigation, it results into soil salinization. Is it obviously against synthetic chemical fertilizers and pesticides? Yes. So याद रखना, it is against the third concept of use of synthetic chemical fertilizers and pesticides. According to FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, conservation agriculture is dependent on zero tillage, as well as land sparring. फिर से एक टेक्निकल वर्ड, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय लैंड स्पारिंग? Land sparring is a concept where production and conservation can go hand in hand. Is a concept that conservation and production can go hand in hand. But to increase the yield of a farm, some amount of land should be left fallow. Some amount of land should be left fallow. Some amount of land should be left, increase the yield of a farm, but to increase the yield of a farm, some amount of land should be left fallow. See, English word है, what do you mean by spare? खाली छोड़ो, फाइन. सो एक साल एक अमाउंट ऑफ लैंड खाली छोड़ो, दूसरे अमाउंट ऑफ लैंड में लो, 3-4 साल उसको यूज करो, जब इसकी यील्ड डिक्रीज हो गई तो उसको 2-3 साल के लिए खाली छोड़ो और रिमेनिंग लैंड में लो. अब व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? देखो, हम प्रीलिम्स के लिए कर रहे हैं, मेंस के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं अभी. सो प्रीलिम्स के लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम की जरूरत नहीं. व्हाट इज द रियल प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कंजर्वेशन एग्रीकल्चर? फाइनेंशियली इंडिया जैसे कंट्री में इट इज अनवायबल, बिकॉज लैंड खाली छोड़ के करेंगे क्या? फाइन, लैंड होल्डिंग्स छोटी है, लैंड कम है, 68% रिडक्शन इन द एग्रीकल्चर लैंड हैज हैपेंड ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम in the world, and therefore land sparing cannot be used. लैंड खाली रख के उसके ऊपर मल्चिंग करना पड़ेगा, ऑब्वियसली. लैंड खाली रख के मल्चिंग हम आएंगे. सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर, माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स, नीम एक्सेट्रा. सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर. Now, what is sustainable agriculture? What? Sustainable development नहीं, sustainable agriculture. You are saying subsistence agriculture. Take down the definition. इसीलिए क्वेश्चंस जनरली एग्जाम में गलत होते हैं. कंजर्वेशन, जीरो टिलेज, सस्टेनेबल, नेचुरल बजट फार्मिंग, सो ये प्रॉपरली करके जाना. सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर इज डिफाइंड एज integrated system of plant and animal production practices. Integrated system of plant and animal production practices. Integrated system of plant and animal production practices that have site specific application. Site specific application for longer times. ये टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन है सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर का. That means, can I say sustainable agriculture is promoting mixed farming, that is use of land, and that is both arable farming and the animals on the same piece of the land. Can I say India का zero budget natural farming is based on sustainable agriculture? Because what is this zero budget natural farming? गोमूत्र for fertilizer, cow dung, the microorganisms, जो भी वेस्ट है, एनिमल वेस्ट, वो फार्म के प्रोडक्ट्स में ही जाना चाहिए. Not, it should not be out or thrown in the market. So for example, urine जो है काऊ का, it is used for fertilizer, pesticide या क्या? As a pesticide. नीम को जला के it is used as an insecticide and fungicide. So this is what is an sustainable agriculture. सब कुछ उस farm पे ही. Understanding? Sustainable agriculture मतलब क्या? Integration of animal and animal के waste को into farming, farming का waste को as an animal feed. So one diagram here. This is what is the sustainable agriculture. Farm residue, that is agricultural waste, will go as a fodder to the animals. Animal waste will go as agriculture input to the farms. That is what is sustainable agriculture. Can I continue? Can I continue now? The important components of sustainable agriculture are natural nitrogen fixation by legumes, second, legumes, nitrogen fixation by leguminous crops, कौन सा microorganism? Rhizobium. Second, crop diversification, ये सब में आएगा. Third, zero tillage. Fourth, use of wind breakers. की लाइन डिजाइन, हम बाद में आएंगे इन की वर्ड्स पे. की लाइन डिजाइन, reducing chemical fertilizers. Two, reduce the soil erosion. To reduce soil erosion, Fourth, major use of micro irrigation practices. Fifth, vermicomposting and mulching. To increase the sustainable agriculture, and to make Indian agriculture climate change proof. Indian Council of Agriculture Research has launched NICRA. सुना है NICRA? National Initiative on climate resilient agriculture. National Initiative on Climate Resilient Agriculture. Climate Resilient Agriculture. फाइन, निकरा बाद में, निकरा बाद में, मेजर स्कीम्स बाद में. स्कीम्स सारी एक साथ क्लाइमेट चेंज की जब इंटरनेशनल नेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस करेंगे. फाइन विथ दिस. नेक्स्ट टेक्निक टू स्टॉप यूट्रोफिकेशन is reducing pollution. Reducing pollution. Reducing pollution. यूट्रोफिकेशन कैसे स्टॉप करना है ये हम कर रहे हैं. फाइन, कितने हो गए? 6th. Reducing pollution. Reducing pollution. Next technique, strengthening laws and regulations. Strengthening the laws and regulations. Strengthening the laws and regulations. For point as well as non-point sources. Point as well as non-point sources in water pollution. In water pollution. Point as well as non-point sources in water pollution. Do you understand point sources and non-point sources? कोई एग्जाम के लिए इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. सपोज इफ दिस इज वाटर, इफ यू आर डूइंग पोल्यूशन हियर एट योर हाउस, but ultimately that pollutant is going back into the water, it is a non-point source. But अगर directly sewage dispose हो रहा है in the water, then it is known as an point source. Next, construction of riparian buffers. Construction of riparian buffers. Construction of riparian buffers and restoration of wetlands. And restoration of wetlands. क्यों riparian buffer? Or tell me, what is a riparian buffer? Riparian buffer is a natural or artificial water body between an land and an important water body, is known as an riparian buffer. मतलब suppose you are putting the pollution direct into the water, उससे अच्छा किसी टैंक में कलेक्ट करो and उसके बाद उस पानी को जाने दो in the major water body, because the water का speed will reduce. Therefore, all the pollutants will be dropping in the tank and the tank can be easily cleaned. Fine. So, riparian buffer is a transition water body between the surface runoff. Is a transition water body between the surface runoff. और ट्रांजिशन वाटर बॉडी के बदले लिखो वेटलैंड, बिटवीन अ सरफेस रन ऑफ एंड द मेन वाटर बॉडी. And the main water body. And the main water body. They can be both. They can be both natural as well as artificial. Natural as well as artificial. Next, using the techniques to solve water pollution, such as filtration, siltation, जो समझ में नहीं आया पूछो मुझे. Filtration, I think everyone knows. Siltation. What is siltation? Removing of silt from the water bodies. That is very fine sediments from the water bodies. Next, sedimentation. 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 समझ में आया? What is sedimentation? How is siltation and sedimentation related to each other? Siltation is removing the, that is, siltation and sedimentation दोनों एक जैसे ही है. Desilting is removing of the silt from the water body. That is desilting. Fine. Now, what do you mean by siltation and sedimentation? Siltation and sedimentation is you are allowing the silt or the sediment to get deposited. क्यों you are allowing it to get deposited? Because generally जो pollutants है, they are not soluble and they will get settled on the bottom of a lakes or the water body, and then you can do desilting or desedimentation. So sedimentation is a technique that is used to control water pollution by constructing riparian buffers. Take down, ये सारा NCERT में से. Further reference, you can refer 12th standard bio NCERT. Sedimentation is a physical treatment in which water is first stored in large reservoirs. Water is stored in the large reservoirs. Treatment in which water is stored in large reservoirs, and the suspended material which collects at the bottom, and the suspended materials which collects at the bottom is then removed. Next technique, flocculation. Flocculation. Or it is also known as coagulation. Flocculation or coagulation. Can someone tell me what is this? You use this in your daily life also. पहले use करते थे. जब पानी polluted था तो कुछ डालते थे पानी में? Alum. क्यों? क्योंकि chemical process से it used to destroy the sediments. It used to separate the sediments. Sediments ultimately used to get and settle down. So the process of chemical treatment of the water is what is known as flocculation or coagulation. Generally, alum is added to the water to undergo the process of coagulation. Do you know alum? People who have born up in cities, do you know alum? Alum? जिनको पता नहीं, शाम को जो रास्ते पे नाई बैठते हैं उसके पास जाके पूछना आपके पास आफ्टर शेव कौन सा है. So they will give you an alum. Fine. So जो टिक्की आती है that is alum. Fine. So take down. In this sedimented water is subjected to chemical process. Underline the word chemical process. A coagulant such as aluminum sulfate. A coagulant such as aluminum sulfate or alum. Alum process. A coagulant such as aluminum sulfate or alum is added. This reacts with water to form precipitate. Which is then separated by sedimentation. is then separated by sedimentation to form precipitate. Precipitate मतलब जो pollutants है वो नीचे settle हो जाएंगे and then देखो पुराने लोग क्या करते थे, they used to put alum in the water over the period of time, फिर thin मसलिन का cloth लेके उसको filter करते थे and पानी साफ होता था. क्यों? Because all the pollutants used to remain on that मसलिन का cloth. Fine. Next technique, disinfection, disinfectant, disinfectant. Extremely polluted water, extremely polluted water, which is not totally free from microorganisms, which is not totally free from microorganisms, is treated with chlorine, bracket में bleaching लिखना, treated with chlorine, bracket में bleaching, comma, ozone, ozone, comma, silver ions, silver ions, or UV rays, or UV rays. Fine. So इस प्रोसेस को कहेंगे the disinfection. प्रॉब्लम किस पानी में होता है? One which has chlorine, because उससे chlorine pollution होता है. Fine with this. And last two techniques is softening, softening, softening. ये सारे टेक्निक्स है वाटर पोल्यूशन को कंट्रोल करने के. Softening, that is adding calcium or magnesium, calcium or magnesium ions, or calcium and magnesium to hard water, to hard water. Calcium or magnesium to hard water. Fine. याद रखना हर एक चीज अलग है. Disinfection adding chlorine. The softening is adding calcium and magnesium. Coagulation is adding alum. And last, aeration. 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 It is the process by which water is made fit for drinking. Water is made fit for drinking by allowing some amount of oxygen to pass through water. By allowing some amount of oxygen to pass through water. Due to oxygen, the amount of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, due to oxygen, the amount of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide is reduced, full stop. So this is aeration. One small homework for you. Whatever is the water purifier at your home, just ask yourself कि ये इसमें से कौन से टेक्निक करता है एंड उससे क्या फायदा होता है. यूवी रेज है उसमें, या एरेशन भी है, या सेडिमेंटेशन भी है, या फिल्ट्रेशन भी है, एवरीथिंग. फिर खुद को पूछो कि आर यू सेफ फ्रॉम वायरल डिजीजेस, ओनली फ्रॉम पैथोजेंस, और ओनली फ्रॉम द बैक्टीरियल डिजीजेस. फाइन. So it will based on the what kind of an filter you use, because there are some filters which will kill everything. There are some filters which are not, which will just clean, but the minerals will remain there. There are some जिसमें से pathogens will easily pass through. I will come to this in last lecture. ये जो आपको जो छोटा होमवर्क दिया है उससे I will come to that in the last lecture, जब हम फिर से एक last set of MCQs डिस्कस करेंगे. Fine. Next, bioremediation. Next technique, bioremediation. Yes, it is a solution of eutrophication. Bioremediation is the solution of eutrophication. Next solution, bioremediation. Bioremediation is a general term used to control pollution. From both water as well as land. The process of bioremediation uses the same technique to break down the environmental pollution. Because in bioremediation, the contaminated material is exposed to microorganisms that will because in bioremediation the contaminated material is exposed to microorganisms bracket में generally bacteria, and this microorganisms will destroy and decompose the polluted material or contaminants. The only problem of bioremediation is it cannot be used to break down heavy metals such as mercury, lead, etc. But the bioremediation is the most important technique. To clear oil spills. What do the microorganisms do? Decomposers means they will break down the organic matter. Now suppose this decomposers organic matter is pollutant. So they will break down the pollutant also. And thus it will be free of pollution. But हमारे body में the bioaccumulants जो है, heavy metals, they cannot be broken down by the bacteria in the stomach. Therefore they will stay in the body. That is the same limitation of the bioremediation in the outside environment. Mercury जैसा heavy metals cannot be broken down by bioremediation. I will come to this again बाद में 3-4 lecture 2 lecture बाद, because current affairs में है we are importing the special kind of bacteria from Arctic to clean our Indian railways, to clean the landfills. वो genetically engineered bacteria है developed by Norway, and India is importing it in large numbers and spraying it in the railways, because our railways are contaminated with food. हमें आदत है खाना खाने की रेलवे में और उधर ही खाना फेंकने की. So as a result of this, the government has to use the concept of bioremediation in the railway coaches. Second technique of using the bioremediation is ये जो बाहर कचरा है, it is treated by the use of bioremediation. But problem क्या हो रहा है? In India there is no separation of non-biodegradable and biodegradable waste, and इसलिए bioremediation is not becoming effective. Fine with this? So these are the some of the techniques of stopping eutrophication. Fine. Now with this come to the question number 23. Question number 23. क्या है आंसर? 1, 2, 3 or 1 and 2 only? Answer is 1, 2, 3. Answer is 1, 2, 3. नीचे से न्यूट्रिएंट्स आते हैं कि नहीं? अपवेलिंग जोन्स ज्योग्राफी में किया था कि नहीं? अपवेलिंग जोन्स कॉजेस न्यूट्रिएंट रिच. सो जब ज्यादा न्यूट्रिएंट है तो व्हाट इट डज? यूट्रोफिकेशन और नॉट? So the answer वहीं पे है. So that is why use the some knowledge of geography while solving the what is eutrophication? Nutrient enrichment. Why the upwelling zones of the oceans are rich fishing zones? Because there is upwelling of nutrients. So the answer उधर ही मिल गया. पहले के दो environment, third geography. Fine. And now we'll come to very good topic which you'll enjoy is this was your mains question this year. What are the new changes introduced by the Wetland Management Rules 2017? That is, they had asked you the comparison between 2018 ka Wetland Management Rules and 2017 ka Wetland Management Rules. Fine. So, what happened on 1st Feb 2019? How many wetlands, Ramsar sites in India? 27. Which is the 27th site? Sundarbans from India was added to the list of the wetland sites in the world. What happened to the Bangladeshi Sundarbans? It was already on the Ramsar Convention. Fine. So what do you understand by wetlands? वो wetland या ecotone? Tell me whether it is a wetland, yes or no. Fine. Marshy land, rice field, salt pans, sure. Natural lakes, चिलिका लेक. तो नेचुरल लेक है चिलिका या नहीं? डैम्स, डैम्स आर रामसर साइट्स या वेटलैंड्स. Artificial lakes. So dam is what? Artificial lake. Fine. Pong Dam, is it a Ramsar site? Yes. Artificial lake. Pong Dam is a Ramsar site. Artificial lake. River. Pong Dam, Himachal, not China wala. So Pong is in Himachal. हमने किया था on river Bias. Fine. River. Sea. कीचड़, कीचड़, corals, yes. Any coastal area up to the depth of 6 meters is a wetland. Underground water bodies, ग्रास सारा है वेटलैंड. याद रखना वेटलैंड क्या है इसमें, ऑल ऑफ द अबव. फाइन. सो वेटलैंड का डेफिनेशन, अ वेटलैंड अ वेटलैंड अ वेटलैंड is an area of marsh, is an area of marsh, peatland, water. रामसर का डेफिनेशन याद रखना, यहां से डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन रामसर साइड से आते हैं. पीटलैंड natural or artificial lakes, natural or artificial lakes and reservoirs, natural or artificial lakes and reservoirs. Permanent or temporary lakes and reservoirs, permanent or temporary lakes or reservoirs. Comma, water that is static or flowing, water that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish or salt, fresh or brackish or salt, fresh or brackish or salt, including the marine areas, including the marine areas, including the marine areas whose depth at low tide should not exceed, whose depth at low tide should not exceed 6 meters, whose depth at low tide should not exceed 6 meters. Wetlands, कोरल रीफ्स हम सेपरेटली कंसिडर करते हैं इसको, एंड ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट, and tropical rainforest are the most productive ecosystems of the world, are the most productive ecosystems of the world. Having very high biodiversity, having very high biodiversity, very high biodiversity. ये प्रीलिम्स के लिए ऑर्डर याद रखना, 1 2 3. सबसे ज़्यादा प्रोडक्टिविटी एंड बायोडाइवर्सिटी ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट, उसके बाद वेटलैंड इफ इट इज डेल्टा एंड एस्चुरी, एंड उसके बाद इट इज द ट्रॉपिकल, इट इज द कोरल रीफ्स. फाइन. सो दिस इज द ऑर्डर ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी. सबसे ज़्यादा किस में है? ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट में. उसके बाद इट इज डेल्टास एंड एस्चुरीज और मैनग्रूव्स, एक ही बात है वो. मैनग्रूव्स आर ऑलवेज फाउंड इन डेल्टास एंड एस्चुरीज. एंड तीसरे नंबर पे कोरल्स. फाइन. आर द वेटलैंड्स इंपॉर्टेंट? वाई? डोंट राइट एनीथिंग. ये सारा प्रिंटेड नोट्स में है, जो काम की चीजें नहीं है. सो मतलब काम की चीजें, इसका मतलब ये है कि उसको नहीं रिवाइज किया तो भी चलेगा. What you should without fail revise is in your written notes. And see why I am not giving you printed notes. सब कुछ पढ़ा है, mulching, conservation agriculture. I know the psychology, मतलब ये है psychology. Printed notes घर पे जाके डाल देना. उठाओगे क्या? Written notes for revision. Fine. So written notes are, printed notes से ज़्यादा effective are the written notes. एक तो आपके handwriting में है. So first thing regarding this wetlands, tell me why they are important. We'll start from here. क्यों important? Why Chilka Lake is important? Animal species. Biodiversity. Provide fish. Provide employment. Provide livelihood. Fine. Do carbon sequestration. कैसे? Corals, will they reduce ocean acidification? Phytoplankton से. Will the mangroves take out carbon dioxide from the atmosphere? Yes. Will provide food security? Will provide fiber, timber? Will provide fiber? Will provide timber? Mangroves आज जलाया भी जाते हैं. Mangroves provide timber also. Timber मतलब लकड़ी. Fine. Fiber मतलब कपड़े. Fine. Increase the livelihood and employment of the people by providing tourism. Provide you recreational activities. कैसे? You go to Chilka Lake for recreation. Fine. Recreational and lastly reduce eutrophication. Yes. कैसे? Buffer. कोई doubt इसमें? Recharge of groundwater. Yes. By reducing the speed. Do they increase the groundwater level? Yes. Filter the water? Yes. Recharge of groundwater कैसे? Imagine a concrete region. Imagine a green grass वाला region. अगर बारिश हुई तो कहाँ से water will run away और कहाँ से water will percolate down. If there is a green region, the water will percolate down. I have told you in geography why Luton's Delhi is green. Britishers ने वो दिल्ली क्यों green बनाई थी? Because recharge of groundwater, natural recharge of groundwater. Fine. Yes, Central Park is an example. CP. Central Park. There was a Central Park. उसके नीचे हमने concrete करके राजीव चौक metro station. Fine. So this is the importance of the wetlands. Now, are the wetlands under threat? Yes. Why? What are the threats to the wetland? Global warming. Why it is causing? What is happening due to global warming? Rise in the sea level, and therefore coastal wetlands are disappearing. Global warming, there is more droughts, and therefore inland wetlands are becoming smaller. Example, Aral Sea. पिछले साल वाला question. Fine. Global warming is causing droughts, and most of the wetland ka water is used for irrigation. So farming is also a threat to wetland. Aquaculture, is it a threat to wetland? Aquaculture. Aquaculture, it is a threat to wetland. देखो हर चीज में yes है answer. Why? Because जो भी human से related है उसमें answer is yes. If you are doing aquaculture, unless the terms come sustainable agriculture, conservation agriculture, zero budget natural farming, इन सब में yes है. कैसे? Because if you are using aquaculture, how are the fishes, shrimps and lobsters grown? Oxytocin. ये current में है oxytocin. It is a antibiotic that is given to the water bodies, to the fishes. It is a hormone that is given to the fishes. That hormone will cause increase in the number of fishes, and as a result of this, the wetland will become poisonous. Fine. Deforestation? Yes. Soil erosion? Yes. Fine. Construction of dams? Yes. When you construct a dam, किसी जगह wetland create हो जाएगा, किसी जगह wetland destroy हो जाएगा. अल नीनो ला नीना? Yes. So समझे इन questions को कैसे approach करना है? All of the above. Unless the word comes in the terms the word comes ki conservation agriculture, sustainable agriculture, climate resilient agriculture, etc. So because the wetlands are, I will give you the material. What are the threats to the wetland? Detailed mein hai. So because the wetlands are under the threat, there is a major convention for the protection of wetlands. It is known as an Ramsar Convention. Fine. Wetlands are most productive and therefore we need to be conserved, and because of this there is the oldest international convention 1972 mein, which was signed on 2nd of Feb 1972 at an Iranian city known as Ramsar, and therefore the name of a convention is Ramsar Convention. Hence 2nd of Feb every year is celebrated as the World Wetland Day. Fine, हम लिखेंगे. But unfortunately for all of us, this year Ramsar has decided to publish for the first time in its history अनफॉर्चुनेटली इसलिए क्योंकि पढ़ना पड़ेगा, ग्लोबल वेटलैंड आउटलुक. रामसर पब्लिश्ड. सो कौन पब्लिश करता है ग्लोबल वेटलैंड आउटलुक? रामसर. कितने पब्लिश हुए? फर्स्ट ग्लोबल वेटलैंड आउटलुक 2018 was published by Ramsar, which is saying obviously क्या कहेगा? Most of the wetlands are under threat. Fine. So and threats को identify किया है, इसलिए wetland से question आएगा. Though important things have happened, why this year wetland is important and Ramsar is important because the first Sundarbans at last became a Ramsar site. अभी तक ऐसे लगता था Sundarbans Ramsar site होगी, इतने छोटे छोटे lakes है, but Sundarbans was not a Ramsar site. Secondly, that global wetland outlook was published by the Ramsar Convention. Thirdly, wetland management rules were notified last year. Though rules are 2017 rules, they were notified in 2018, which have changed the kind of an wetland ka management in India. And fourthly, the olive ridley turtles are increasing again in number in the Chilka Lake Reserve, but they have stopped coming to one river in India. जब हम wetlands करेंगे तब हम करेंगे which river they have stopped, मीन्स जब हम इंडिविजुअल वेटलैंड्स करेंगे. रिमेंबर ये एंड बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स रटे होने चाहिए. मीन्स कभी भी नींद में पूछा तो कौन से 27 वेटलैंड है आपको याद होने चाहिए, कौन से 20 बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व है, 18 बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व है आपको याद होने चाहिए. फाइन. So this is the Ramsar Convention on the protection of wetlands. It is at international level and national level pe we have our own convention, the wetland management rules over the period of time. So let us first see what Ramsar does and why we require our own rules. So you can take down first. India has both inland as well as India has both inland as well as coastal wetlands, inland as well as coastal wetlands, inland as well as coastal wetlands, but the number of dash wetlands are more. कौन सा wetlands का number ज़्यादा होगा? 100%. But the number of inland wetlands are much more. Number of inland wetlands are more. कितने wetlands हैं इंडिया में? Wetlands कितने हैं इंडिया में? 26,000 wetlands are there in India. उसमें से 27 are in the Ramsar list. Right? 26,000 में से 4,000 are coastal, बाकी के 22,000 are inland. Right? So inland wetlands are more in number. Next, the convention on wetlands of international importance, underline the word wetlands of international importance, is also known as Ramsar Convention, is also known as Ramsar Convention, is the convention also known as Ramsar Convention, is the convention for is the convention for international protection of the wetlands, international protection of the wetlands using three principles or three pillars, using three pillars. First pillar, wise use. First pillar is wise use. Second pillar is international cooperation. International cooperation. And third pillar is Ramsar list. Ramsar list, that is designating designating a suitable number of wetlands, as wetlands of international importance, as the wetlands of international importance. Fine, full stop. So क्या है, 3 pillars, wise use, एटलीस्ट एक वेटलैंड रामसर लिस्ट में डालो अगर इफ यू आर बिकमिंग अ पार्टी टू रामसर, एंड देन देयर शुड बी इंटरनेशनल कोऑपरेशन ऑन द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वेटलैंड्स. फाइन. नाउ व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय वाइज यूज? व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय वाइज यूज? स्टॉपिंग टूरिज्म या अलाउिंग लिमिटेड अमाउंट ऑफ टूरिज्म? व्हाई नॉट स्टॉपिंग टूरिज्म? स्टॉपिंग पोल्यूशन या अलाउिंग लिमिटेड अमाउंट ऑफ पोल्यूशन? Allowing a thermal power plant या not allowing a thermal power plant? It depends upon country. And ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है रामसर का. Wise use इतना subjective है word कि what is wise will depend upon that time minister and bureaucrat. ये क्या wise है? What do you mean by wise use? It is very subjective. It is not saying, जैसे क्योटो कहता है stop the production of XYZ gases, ये कहता है wisely use करो wetland को. What is wise use is very subjective. Fine. Next, the Ramsar Convention was adopted on 2nd Feb 1971. The Ramsar Convention was adopted on 2nd Feb 1971 and came into force in 1975. And came into force in 1975. Came into force in 1975. Therefore, 2nd Feb is celebrated as World Wetland Day. 2nd Feb is celebrated as World Wetland Day. देखो एक क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी के एग्जाम का, बट नॉट ऑफ सिविल सर्विसेज. 2nd Feb is celebrated as World Wetland Day because one option, Ramsar Convention came into force. Second option, Ramsar Convention was opened for signature. Third option, Ramsar Convention was adopted. Fourth option, none of the above. Third option. You have to be very, very clear with the words. Fine, because it was adopted on 2nd of Feb कि हाँ रामसर कन्वेंशन है, बट फोर्स में कब आया? 4 साल बाद, in 1975. So why World Wetland Day is celebrated? Similarly, एक यूपीएससी का क्वेश्चन, World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th of June because क्यों? World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th of June. क्यों? Because UNFCCC and IPCC were adopted. Kyoto Protocol was adopted. Convention on Biodiversity was opened for signature. None of the above. Answer is none of the above. Why it is none of the above? जब हम करेंगे तब बताऊंगा, बट अभी सिर्फ इतना याद रखना, बिकॉज कन्वेंशन ऑन बायोडाइवर्सिटी, कन्वेंशन ऑन डेजर्टिफिकेशन एंड कन्वेंशन ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज, ये 3 डॉक्यूमेंट्स वेर ओपन फॉर सिग्नेचर, नॉट अडॉप्टेड. Ramsar is celebrated because it was adopted. This is celebrated because it is opened for signature. The 5th of June. Next statement. Once a country signs a Ramsar Convention, once a country signs a Ramsar Convention, once a country signs a Ramsar Convention, it must designate at least one wetland. It must designate at least one wetland as a wetland of international importance. As a wetland of international importance based on following criterias. ये रटना पड़ेगा 9 criterias. Based on following criterias. Based on following criterias. There are 9 criterias, class में ही रट लो. So there are 9 criteria whether a site can become a Ramsar site or not, right? So UPSC will straight away give you this criteria, 4 criteria, उसमें से एक can be not a criteria, fine. So criteria number 1, don't write anything, listen here, then you will understand how these criteria are. Very simple to remember. Criteria 1, कोई भी wetland can become a wetland under Ramsar, or it should be a unique lake, unique water body. Unique water body कैसे हो सकता है unique? Maybe it is the largest saline lake of India, Sambar Lake. Maybe it is the largest brackish water lake of India, Chilka Lake. Maybe it has the largest number of saltwater crocodiles in India. Maybe it has largest number of flying birds in India. Fine. So the criteria 1 is, underline only the keywords. If it contains a representative rare, if it contains a representative rare or unique example, representative rare or unique example of near natural or natural wetland, near natural or natural wetland, near natural मतलब artificial also. So सबसे पहले the wetland should be both artificial or natural, but it should be unique in something. Fine. Criteria 2. क्यों हो सकता है unique? Because it contains maybe tiger, because it contains maybe pelicans, because it may consist of some of the species which are in the IUCN red list category. That is the second criteria. If it supports threatened species, if it supports threatened species, and threatened means 3 types of species: vulnerable, endangered and critically endangered. This is the meaning of threatened species, if it supports the threatened species. Third, if it supports population of plant animal species, if it supports a population of plant animal species which are necessary for maintaining the biodiversity. मतलब थर्ड क्राइटेरिया में कीवर्ड क्या है? बायोडाइवर्सिटी. Maintaining the biodiversity of a region, necessary for maintaining the biodiversity of a region. See, I will first revise the 3 criteria. ये stories ही याद रखना है एग्जाम में. सबसे पहले it should be unique, so the keyword is unique. एग्जाम रिवाइज करते समय सिर्फ यूनिक को याद रखना. सेकेंड कीवर्ड इज बायोडाइवर्सिटी बहुत ज्यादा है. फाइन. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर चिल्का लेक है, चिल्का लेक में सारे कौवे होते, देयर आर नॉट अ सिंगल बर्ड बट ओनली क्रोज, क्या वो चिल्का लेक वुड हैव बीन अ रामसर साइट? नो. Chilka Lake has 60,000 different species of the birds in its peak season and therefore biodiversity. Third, most of these birds are threatened. Fine. Fourth, tell me why olive ridley turtles come to India? For hatching the or laying the eggs. Kitne eggs they give in one season? At a one time? Some 1200-1300 eggs, right? उसमें से कितने सर्वाइव करते हैं? एक. 1 out of 200 will survive and reach the sea. फाइन. एक बार समंदर के आने के बाद ही कैन सर्वाइव. बट जो बीच से समंदर का डिस्टेंस में 199 डाई एंड ओनली 1 सर्वाइव्स. इसीलिए डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन मॉडल स्टेज 1 हाई बर्थ रेट, हाई डेथ रेट. क्यों हाई डेथ रेट है? इसलिए हाई बर्थ रेट है. याद रखना दिस थिंग. व्हाई दे डाई? कंपटीशन. किसकी कंपटीशन? डॉग्स, वाइल्ड एनिमल्स, human traffickers, birds, snakes, they all are ready to eat them once they 200 मीटर के डिस्टेंस में more than 200 will die. So that is the criteria 4. But why then come to the Orissa? Because that is the criteria 4. If it supports plant or animal species, if it supports plant or animal species at critical stages of their life. At critical stages of their life. Example, olive ridley turtles. Don't write example. Critical stages of their life, or provides refuge during adverse conditions. Provides refuge during adverse conditions. So two keywords underline here, critical stages and refuge during adverse conditions. Fine. Why do चिल्का लेक में या ओडिशा कोस्ट में ऑलिव रिडले टर्टल्स कम? बिकॉज दैट इज द सेफेस्ट ब्रीडिंग ग्राउंड इन द वर्ल्ड. इसलिए सबसे ज्यादा ऑलिव रिडले टर्टल्स आर फाउंड इन इंडिया. फाइन. इफ यू हैव एवर गॉन टू ऋषिकुल्या रिवर का बीच or in the Chilka lake region, you will be amazed to see the olive ridley turtles at night. Night they allow the humans to go watch that site. रात में when it is a full moon night, many people go क्योंकि मोबाइल का लाइट भी अलाउड नहीं है by Orissa Forest Department. some कुछ इतने सारे हजार से ज़्यादा olive ridley turtles come out of the sea suddenly, and इतना ज़्यादा नंबर होता है कि you can hear them breathing. Generally turtles you cannot hear them breathing because they breathe very slowly, and because they breathe very slowly therefore उनका life is very longer. Fine. But you can hear them breathing. You will see them digging and within 1 hour जितने भी बड़े हैं वापस चले जाते हैं, and 7-8 दिन बाद जो छोटे हैं because of the heat of the sands they will come out and they will go into the sea. So this happens in Orissa because Orissa is having mangroves, and because Orissa is having mangroves they are considered to be safest. Fine. And the people of Orissa will respect the olive ridley turtles. Why Irrawaddy dolphins are found in the Chilka lake? Because the Irrawaddy dolphins, which is found near the Gulf of Myanmar in the sea, is destroyed. That Gulf of Myanmar has cyclones every year. They may kill the Irrawaddy dolphins. To protect themselves from the cyclones, they will come to the Chilka lake, because Chilka lake has mangroves, and mangroves will protect you from cyclones and tsunamis. So stage 1, stage 2. Fine. Criteria 5. Supports 20,000 or more water birds. Supports 20,000 or more water birds. Criteria 6. Regularly supports 1% of individuals. Regularly supports 1% of individuals in a population of one species or subspecies of water bird. 1% of individuals in a population of one species or subspecies of water birds. So 5 and 6 is for birds. कितने birds होने चाहिए? 20,000 से ज़्यादा. एक species के कितने होने चाहिए? 1%. Should I repeat? If it regularly supports 1% of individual in a population of species or subspecies of water birds. Suppose there are 2,000 pelicans in the world. कितने होने चाहिए minimum? 1% of that 2,000. Then it will become a Ramsar site. Getting it? Criteria 7. Criteria 7. Higher proportion of indigenous fishes. If it supports higher proportion of indigenous fishes. Criteria 8. Higher proportion of indigenous fishes. Criteria 8. Fishes. Criteria 8. If it provides nursery, spawning ground, migratory path, or food to fishes. If provides nursery, spawning ground, migratory path, or food to fishes. Criteria 9. If it supports 1% of individuals of, if it supports 1% of individuals of wetland dependent non-avian animal species. Non-avian animal species. Animal species is always non-avian. If it supports 1% of population of non-avian animal species. 1% of population of non-avian animal species. Revise the criteria फिर से. What is the first? Unique. Second, endangered. Third, biodiversity. Fourth, critical stages. चारों ये important है. ठीक है, ये as it is रटे होने चाहिए, मतलब keywords. क्यों बायोडाइवर्सिटी ज्यादा होगी? क्योंकि इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग देम सपोर्ट एट द क्रिटिकल स्टेजेस, इसीलिए तो जाके सब रह रहे उधर. फाइन. क्राइटेरिया 5 and 6 इज फॉर बर्ड्स, 20,000 से ज्यादा एंड 1% से ज्यादा, बस इतना ही याद रखना. 6 and 7 इज फॉर फिशेस, कोई खास नहीं है. सॉरी, 7 and 8 इज फॉर फिशेस, 9 इज फॉर एनिमल्स. फाइन. These are the criteria. If any one criteria is fulfilled, it becomes a Ramsar site. चलो, बन गई रामसर साइट. उसके बाद क्या? वंस इट साइट बिकम्स अ रामसर साइट, उसके बाद क्या? दैट इज व्हाट. याद रखना, ये सारे क्वेश्चंस मैं जब डिस्कस करूंगा तब समझ में आएगा. वंस इट बिकम्स अ रामसर साइट, रामसर कन्वेंशन सेज वाइजली यूज. अब कैसे वाइजली यूज, दैट इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द गवर्नमेंट्स. सो एक पास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चन है, वंस अ साइट बिकम्स अ रामसर साइट, व्हाट द कंट्री कैन डू? स्टॉप माइनिंग इंडस्ट्रीज. Second, stop control tourism. Third, stop polluting industries. Fourth, none of the above. What does Ramsar say? None of the above. याद रखना, none of the above. Ramsar does not say anything. What? Who says? Wetland Management Rules of India. What? US का Wetland Management Rules. Understanding this? So ये याद रखना, Ramsar does not say anything. So next, once a site becomes a Ramsar site, once a site becomes a Ramsar site, once a site becomes a Ramsar site, their area is recorded. Their area is recorded. Area is recorded. And the governments take commitments. Governments take commitments to preserve the ecological character of wetlands. Preserve the ecological character of wetlands. Government takes commitments to preserve the ecological character of wetlands. Very open-ended, right? How we are going to preserve, कुछ नहीं कहता. अब बिकॉज ऑफ दिस चांसेस है कि बहुत ज्यादा वेटलैंड्स विल बिकम पोल्यूटेड. Montreux's record is a tool for highlighting those sites. Is a tool for highlighting those sites. Those Ramsar sites is a tool for highlighting those Ramsar sites where changes in the ecological character, is occurring, has occurred, changes in the ecological character is occurring, comma, has occurred, or is likely to occur, due to technological developments, pollution and other human interference. Technological development, pollution and other human interference. Currently 2 Indian sites are on the Montreux record. Currently 2 Indian sites are on the Montreux record. One is Loktak Lake and second is और भरतपुर बर्ड सेंचुरी. भरतपुर बर्ड सेंचुरी. सिंपल वर्ड्स में इतना याद रखना, व्हाट इज मॉन्ट्रियक्स रिकॉर्ड? द लिस्ट ऑफ पोल्यूटेड वेटलैंड्स. जहां पे ओरिजिनल जो कैरेक्टर ऑफ लेक है वो चेंज हो गया है, देयरफॉर वी आर सेइंग चेंजेस इन द इकोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टर. फाइन. सो कितने वेबसाइट, कितने साइट्स हैं इंडिया के? लोकटक लेक एंड केवलादेव घाना नेशनल पार्क. कहां पे केवलादेव? राजस्थान. फाइन. How does Ramsar Convention function? Understand, how does it function? See, Ramsar does not have a permanent staff. Fine. It does not work at a ground level because you have to understand it is so old. So Ramsar Convention functions with the help of international organization, partners of the Ramsar. जो हर साल एक क्वेश्चन आता है प्रीलिम्स में in this organization, जो हम 5 ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लिख रहे हैं. Fine. So Ramsar Convention works closely with 6 global non-governmental organizations, 6 global non-governmental organizations known as International Organization Partners of Ramsar. Known as International Organization Partners of Ramsar. And they are first BirdLife International. They are first BirdLife International. Second, IUCN. First BirdLife International, second IUCN. Third, WWF. Fourth, Wetlands International. Fourth, Wetlands International. Fifth, International Water Management Institute. Fifth, International Water Management Institute. Sixth, Wildfowl and Wetland Trust. International Wildfowl and Wetland Trust. International Wildfowl and Wetland Trust. Fine. अब जो भी सी फ्रॉम दिस लास्ट लेक्चर itself शुरू हो गए जितने भी इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं. द ओनली वे ऑफ रिमेंबरिंग देम इज क्लास के बाद जाके रिवीजन करना, अदरवाइज एंड तक बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएंगे. फाइन. एंड दे आर वेरी वेरी इंटररिलेटेड. अब ये सारे क्या है? इंटर गवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और एनजीओस. All are NGOs. मतलब if any of this organization comes and says that it is a part of IUCN, it is a part of UNEP, etc., the statement is wrong. Fine. So सबसे पहले we will do BirdLife International. Any idea about what is BirdLife International? A world leader in the conservation of किसके? Animals or birds? Birds. A world leader in the conservation of birds. Having at least one partner in each and every country. Having at least one partner in each and every country. Example, in India, it is Bombay Natural History Society. Bombay Natural History Society. Important programs मतलब ये कौन सा प्रोग्राम लेता है? फर्स्ट, IBAs, which is nothing but important biodiversity and bird areas. Important biodiversity and bird areas. Important biodiversity and bird areas program. सारे प्रोग्राम्स हम नहीं लिखेंगे, जो एग्जाम रिलेवेंट है वही, और उनको डिटेल में पढ़ना पड़ेगा. डिटेल में मतलब व्हाट इज दिस प्रोग्राम अबाउट. सेकंड, इट इज एन ऑफिशियल लिस्टिंग अथॉरिटी. It is an official listing authority. No, second program, second importance. It is the official listing authority for IUCN's red list regarding birds. For IUCN's red list regarding birds. मतलब IUCN को कौन बताता है रिगार्डिंग द बर्ड्स कि बर्ड शुड बी इन द रेड लिस्ट और नॉट इन द रेड लिस्ट? बर्ड लाइफ इंटरनेशनल, रिगार्डिंग IUCN's रेड लिस्ट ऑन बर्ड्स. फाइन. थर्ड, इट पब्लिशेस अ क्वार्टरली मैगजीन. ये भी याद करना पड़ता है, क्वार्टरली, एनुअली, बाय एनुअली. इट पब्लिशेस अ क्वार्टरली मैगजीन known as World Bird Watch. Known as World Bird Watch, which contains articles about the birds, their habitats, contains articles about the birds, their habitats, and conservation. And conservation. And conservation. Headquartered UK, Cambridge. Headquartered UK, Cambridge. Second, Wetland International. Wetland International. It is independent. It is independent. Global, not for profit, non-governmental organization, which works at field levels. Underline the word field level. हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फील्ड लेवल के काम नहीं करता. फील्ड लेवल और ग्राउंड लेवल. टू रिस्टोर द वेटलैंड्स. पॉइंट वाइज लिखना ये सारे. रिस्टोर वेटलैंड्स. advise people about the importance of wetlands. Help government formulate policies. Third, help government formulate policies for the conservation of wetlands. Fourth, create awareness for the conservation of wetlands. Create awareness for the conservation of wetlands. Create awareness for the conservation of wetlands. Headquartered Netherlands. Headquarter Netherlands. Headquarter Netherlands. Fine. So with this background, come to question 65. Answer is 2 only. Why? Because first statement कहता है इंटरगवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. देखो क्वेश्चंस बहुत आसान आते हैं. कम टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 84. The concept of biodiversity hotspots originated here? No. It identifies the sites known as important bird and biodiversity areas? Yes. 3 is very correct. It is a global partnership of conservation organizations? Yes. Having each partner in each country. Sign? So the answer is 1 and 3 only. Biodiversity hotspots कहाँ से originate हुए? Conservation International, not BirdLife International. Fine? Conservation International. उसके बाद लिखना IUCN and WWF refer biodiversity. IUCN and WWF refer biodiversity. Then International Water Management Institute. इंटरनेशनल वाटर मैनेजमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट किस में काम करेगा? अगर बर्ड लाइफ इंटरनेशनल इज फॉर बर्ड्स, ये वेटलैंड इंटरनेशनल इज फॉर वाटर वेटलैंड्स, तो ये वाटर. इट इज अ नॉन प्रॉफिट एनजीओ. इट इज नॉन प्रॉफिट एनजीओ. एनजीओ. हेडक्वार्टर कनाडा. हेडक्वार्टर कोलंबो. हेडक्वार्टर कोलंबो, श्रीलंका. एरियाज ऑफ वर्क अफ्रीका एंड एशिया. एरियाज ऑफ वर्क अफ्रीका एंड एशिया. ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. अब देखना. इट इज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फोकसिंग ऑन, लिखना, इट इज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फोकसिंग ऑन वाटर मैनेजमेंट, comma management of land resources, comma food security, comma reducing poverty, comma increasing livelihood, comma adaptation to climate change, and protect environmental health, and protect environmental health, protect environmental health. So IWMI किस में काम करता है? All of the above. Sustainable development, yes. Biodiversity, yes. Food security, yes. Eradication of poverty, yes. Agricultural management, yes. Understanding? सब मत पढ़ के जाना, सिर्फ खुद को पूछना, अरे ये तो सब में काम कर रहा है. फाइन. पहले के दो फोकस उधर ही हो गए. कहां पे? एक सिर्फ बर्ड्स के ऊपर रह गया, एक सिर्फ वेटलैंड के ऊपर रह गया. अब ये कहता है पानी, पानी लैंड पे है तो लैंड, पानी के ऊपर एग्रीकल्चर है तो एग्रीकल्चर, एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर पॉवर्टी है तो पॉवर्टी, पॉवर्टी के ऊपर जॉब्स है तो लाइवलीहुड. एग्रीकल्चर डिस्ट्रक्टिव नहीं होना चाहिए, इसलिए सस्टेनेबल एंड एनवायरमेंट सबके ऊपर काम करता है. दैट इज जस्ट रिमेंबर वन सिंपल स्टेटमेंट, IWMI इज द मोस्ट पावरफुल एनजीओ इन द वर्ल्ड. राइट? बिकॉज it is nothing but an NGO of private companies. Fine? So it is one of the most powerful NGO. ये एग्जाम के लिए मत याद रखना, IWMI, all of the above. Fine? Example 1. IWMI has worked in Gujarat. Has worked in Gujarat to increase the groundwater level, increase the groundwater level, it has worked with the farmers in Anand, it has worked with farmers in Anand to form the world's first Anand, to form the world's first project on solar energy, project on solar energy in cooperative sector, in the cooperative sector, in the cooperative sector. World's first project on solar energy in the cooperative sector, which has increased the income of the farmers, income of the farmers. ये कब हुआ था? 12 मार्च 2018. इसीलिए सोलार पावर पैनल्स पे आपको क्वेश्चन आया था. अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? इसका क्रिटिसिज्म ये था that solar power panels were imported in large amount in China and therefore you have a question on solar power panels. Fine. So IWMI, remember all of the above. Fine. So I'll stop here.